Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Yes, it's been 3 long weeks that I have not keep you guys up to date, and I apologize for that. I've just really needed this break, and it's been a hell of a month so far. But without further ado, we're back, and tonight we're going to be covering a topic that is highly speculative and debatable, but it needs to be discussed nonetheless. And we're going to be talking about the Great Reset and how trade finance could be at the center slash the heart of this agenda that global China institutions are pushing towards a more digitized economy. Now, my name is Kevin, as you probably already know, and I have been running this channel for about 3+ months or so, give or take. And our aim here is simply to provide research. I'm not an influencer. I research the space. I make my investments based on my research and based on the documents that are provided to me, the facts that are provided to me, and share that with you guys here on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you find this video. So tonight, the company and the asset that we're going to look into, essentially at the heart of this movement, the heart of this revolution, evolution, is Zinfin with its technology XDC. Now, what is Zinfin? What is XDC? They are a company that uses the crypto technology of XDC to revolutionize trade finance in general. And so it's a big deal. It doesn't sound very sexy. It's not your average everyday meme coin where you get 1,000x and so forth just based off a pure random $10 million pump from somebody unknown. It covers a market that's essentially it's the back end. It's the back end of every company where it's not pretty, but it's essential. And to give you a perspective, global trade finance market is worth today around 19 to 20 trillion dollars. So you revolutionize that market, you innovate, and you build on that market to make it better. You solve a big problem. And with the way things are going, with paper trade being very inefficient and settlement still taking days and sometimes even weeks to go through, it's something that needs to be addressed. It's something that it's about time that it is addressed. So that is why it's very crucial to cover this topic. That is why it's very crucial for it's essentially one of the most crucial places for crypto and blockchain to essentially start its global adoption around the world, around institutions, and for blockchain to be realized for its utility in the first place, which is to enhance the financial sector as a whole. I think that's a better way to word it. But without further ado, let's dive further into it. So that gives you an idea of what Zinfin XCC is doing with its plans and its goals, with its technology. Now, it doesn't matter too much of how well your company does something, how fast it does it, how efficient it does it. It's more so about who's up your sleeve. And so there's 20,000 different crypto projects who some of them do things more efficiently and is more scalable than others. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the important players under your belt, you're not going to matter that much. And so why XCC? Why Zinfin? Well, if we have a look at this document here by the World Bank Group, and if we scroll down to page 11, I've highlighted it here. I hope you guys can see that. So this paragraph mentions a further challenge particularly relevant for the area of financial markets infrastructures are the substantial costs related to migrating existing long-standing IT systems, operational management arrangements, and institutional frameworks to DLT based infrastructure. Many industry observers note that due to these challenges, DLT applications will likely begin in areas without many legacy investments in automation, such as trade finance and syndicate loans in the financial sector. So that already kind of gives you an idea of why I think, to be honest, I don't really think this anymore. It's quite obvious when you go through documents like these from such a giant global powerhouse like the World Bank, which is essentially the the central bank of central banks alongside the BIS. It's evident. It's there. They've, of course, something that I've always relied on is always watch what they do, not what they say. But the problem is, the interesting thing about this article is how it's not mainstream. How many people actually go on their website? Don't even have to go on the website. Just do a quick Google search of trade finance. Nobody cares about trade finance. Nobody understands what it is. Uh, People just go along the day being consumers, and I've done that for sure. But it just kind of it puts things into perspective. It's along around how underestimated companies like Zinfin and assets like SAC is. But the problems that it's solving is massive. And the reason it's a problem is because, while we still heavily rely on paper, right, there was an article that was published by Device Magic that uh, I'm not sure how accurate this is. This is a while ago, but I think it's 2016 article. But it's still relevant and it gives you an idea of the numbers that is being spent on printed forms in a year. But in the US alone, companies spend over $120 billion each year printing forms, even though most forms are out of date within 3 months. Essentially, it's a waste of money, right? Companies do this all the time. They get their contracts, they do their partnerships, and they sign it off, and then 3 months later, it's wasted, was recycled. But it's mostly still wasted. Now, kind of that already kind of gives you an idea of how much we're spending on essentially printing ink, and I'm assuming this factors in the amount it costs to cut down trees, the amount of oil, the amount of cost to sorry, the amount of oil is used to cut down the trees and to produce the papers, to produce the forms, etc. So $120 billion a year in US alone is a lot of money. And by revolutionizing trade finance, by tokenizing contracts, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a revolution. It's an evolution of trade finance because you essentially have things settle in an instant. You'd it's not it's not only just getting things settled in an instant. It reduces costs. It enhances security because think about it. Paper, it could get lost in the mail and you just lose it. I mean, sure, the same thing can happen through a more digital economy, but it's less likely to happen. Just to be clear, I'm not an advocate for this dystopian digital economy where everybody is enslaved by the robots, by all the technologies. So I'm not an advocate for that. It's just where we're going. And like I said, watch what they do and not what they say. And so, following on this article, we see the ICC, which is the International Chamber of Commerce, and they published an article. The new version of Global Trade Modernization Index launches to accelerate digital trade. Now, this was literally just 2 months ago. Yeah, 2 months ago. It's 25th of March. So excuse me. It's been a very weird night for me. Um, The ICC Digital Standards Initiative, the Asia Global Institute, and the Milken Institute have announced the launch of beta version of the Global Trade Modernization Index in Hong Kong. The new version marks the first update of the alpha version launched in March 2023. And you scroll down here. Here we go. The launch aims to highlight how economies can build their digital trade readiness through 5 linked pillars: paperless trade, trade openness, regulatory environment, readiness, and human capital. The index aggregates 27 indicators to evaluate 65 economies. Notable insights are Singapore remains its number one position of so forth. Saudi, United UAE is here. The UK is here. Now, just to kind of summarize this article, the ICC, who are they? First off, they are the largest, most representative business organization in the world. It's over 45 million members in over 100 countries of interest, spanning every sector of private enterprise. So they are a big deal. This is the ICC, International Chamber of Commerce. And fun fact, if we come here to TradeFinex, which runs off the XCC protocol, there was an honorable mention by the ICC in France. In French, I guess. ICC in French. I don't exactly know, but it's the ICC regardless. And they were mentioned by the XCC and how the XCC protocol works. And we kind of zoom in. You see the charts here. You see the essentially the setup and how it could work and how it would look if XCC is to be implemented in essentially the center, the heart of trade finance, and essentially revolutionizing trade finance as we know it today. Now, if this doesn't get you bullish, I don't know what does. You have a company, supposedly a small company like Zinfin, being associated with a giant global institution like the ICC. Not just the ICC. We also have the ITFA. The ITFA mentions here Zinfin's XCC network, the first blockchain company to join the global TFD initiative. It was established by the ITFA. So Zinfin is among the members with ABN, AMRO, Santander, ING Bank, SMBC, ANZ, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, Textile Group, so much more. There's more there a little bit, yes. This gives you this kind of gives you an idea of where Zinfin is going with their technology, with such a disruptive technology in such a disruptable market like trade finance. And if we even get a small percentage of this market, if XAC Zinfin gets a small percent of this market, and of course it's not just going to be XAC, there's going to be other players that can be involved, like XLM, XRP with its cross-border payment solutions, Algorand with its tokenization efficiencies. If we can capture a small percentage, we're good, guys. 19 trillion, 20 trillion, that's a lot of money that could pour into XTC alone. So that kind of gives you an idea of what could essentially happen with Zinfin, and when it does have that global adoption that is working to get. And then one more article that I'll go through is the World Trade Organization article, Blockchain and DLT in Trade, Where Do We Stand? And we just scroll down to page 29. You can see TradeFinex is mentioned. TradeFinex can be described as a hybrid blockchain and network of networks, underpinned by Zinfin Network's XDC protocol. TradeFinex connects multiple platforms by operating as a blockchain-agnostic middleware. They already they are already live with an agnostic integration for MSME originators, connecting them with decentralized liquidity pools through the proprietary tokenization protocol for meeting MSME funding requirements. And we just come down a little bit more, skipping this part. The current participants: Validas, Nagio, Ramco, ITFA, and WOA pay network utility fees to gain access to the platform. The reason I want to bring this up is, as well as the other, the other, yes, as well as the ITFA post here on the website, is not only is it just being talked about, they're actually being in initiatives, being in uh, processes that are being developed by the likes of ITFA, the ICC, with global, essentially with global banking elite institutions like ANZ, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, Santander. They're associated with these guys. They're working together. This is not just being said. They're working together today. And I don't know about you, but like I said, I evaluate my investments based on facts, figures, numbers, and logic. It's there, guys. It's the documents are there for you to read. It's um, I don't know what else to say. I mean, you can complain about the price action today, tomorrow, next week, next month. I don't care because at the end of the day, I have every confidence that we're gonna win regardless. And if you don't know who the World Trade Organization is, here you go. Just do a quick Google search. Yeah, read through that. And if you don't know who the ITFA is, Worldwide Trade Association for companies, financial institutions, and intermediaries engaged in global trade, full fading supply chain, and receivables financing. One of the biggest. And then, if you don't know who the Trade Finance Global is, the TFG, who also worked with the World Trade Organization on this article published in 2020. Here you go. Do a quick Google search. You can, if you don't understand why projects like HTC is being looked down on, it's because it's boring. It's boring. Utility doesn't matter yet. Everyone's still following Bitcoin at the moment. And when you have an agenda like the Great Reset being pushed by the World Economic Forum and so forth, regardless, you gotta want to listen because because not only do you know you're kind of in the know. You're not really in the know because you're not in there, but you get an understanding of where we're kind of going in the future, and you get to position yourselves accordingly ahead of time before everybody else to be prepared to capitalize on an opportunity like this. It's the great transfer of wealth, guys. The Great Reset is the great transfer of wealth, and we're talking trillions of dollars here that will potentially be reevaluated. Assets will be reevaluated, and not just assets. I mean, consumable goods, durable and non-durable goods, and anything that we know of potentially could get reevaluated just because we're essentially hitting the button, the big red button that says reset, that says we need to change how we deal with debt today. We need to tokenize it. We need to essentially transform it, just like that. This is a big deal. This is a big, massive deal. And so that's why I look into companies like Zinfin, XCC, like Ripple, XRP, like Stellar, XLM, like Algorand, Algo, like Hedera, HBAR, because they are at the center of they're essentially they're working. Not only are they the center of this of this great transition, but they are the heartbeat of it. They're the forefront. They're taking the forefront of essentially accelerating these giant institutions, these global giant institutions' plans. They're accelerating them because of their technology, because of their innovations. So you gotta pay attention, guys. I'm sorry if this excuse me. I'm sorry if this is a bit of a long video, but I just really wanted to cover this because this video has actually been in a long time waiting, and I've delayed it long enough. And of course, it's been 3 weeks now, and that's not really ideal. Me being a content creator and a researcher around the space. So again, I do apologize for being away that for that long without any announcement and so forth. But the purpose of why I'm here, why I make these videos, is to inform you, is to try to show you the research that I've done to essentially help guide you to this brave new world that we're heading into. And look, I don't know. Okay, I'm not in the know of these things, and if I was, I wouldn't be making a YouTube channel on this, right? Uh, to be honest, because well, you know, conflict of interest and so forth, NDAs. But yeah, if you see me disappear completely, you'd know why, and that's because of maybe I got in or something. But I don't know. It's too early to tell. But anyway, I'll continue to do my best to keep you guys up to date with everything that's going on with the financial sector, and yeah, all the innovations that are taking place, all the actions that are taking place in this market. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys stick around to the end, just to kind of get an idea of how big trade finance is and how Zinfin is at the center, is the heartbeat of this revolution of trade finance. And yeah, and I hope that you guys take something from this video, even though I guess I'm not exactly clear on my speech, and I'm not exactly clear on what. Uh, I hope that gave you an idea of how of what I'm trying to say here in this video is pay attention. Essentially, pay attention. It's not an advice, investment advice. It's not financial advice. But if you pay attention just long enough, you'll get an understanding, and you'll be better off with how you plan to position yourself for this brave new world that we're about to head into. So I hope you guys have a good night. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Turn on notifications so you don't miss on a future video. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good night and take care of yourself. Goodbye.